Good afternoon. My name is Patty Adams, and I am the CEO and founder of Scars of the Past Ministry. We are a nonprofit organization that supports sexual assault survivors using a holistic approach. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and the theme for this month is Building Connected Communities, which was developed by the National Sexual Violence Resource Center. I will be interviewing local agencies to find out what they're doing to support survivors. Today, I have a splendid guest with me by the name of Miss Brittany De La Garza. She works at Harvest House Ministry as the education coordinator. Please help me to welcome Miss Brittany. Hi, Brittany. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad it's a somewhat of a warm day, but just not too overbearingly hot, so that makes it really good for me.
Yes, the weather's just one of those things so unpredictable, but I'm liking it right now.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of like, okay, I think I can deal with this. And so thank you so much for joining me. And I understand that you are the education coordinator with Harvest House. And so can you tell me a little bit about what you do in your position as the education coordinator?
Yeah, so my position entails going to schools and doing presentations about child sex trafficking prevention, how to recognize it, recognize the red flags. We just want everyone to be as aware as possible so they can help potentially stop it or we can prevent it at the school age.
Absolutely, 100%. And so you're employed with Harvest House Ministries. I've heard it pronounced both ways. It's Harvest House and then Harvest House Ministries. And so I may interchange those, but I know it's all one and the same. Can you
Yes,
tell me
ma'am.
a little bit how long they've been in existence and maybe what their mission statement is or what their
Yeah,
vision
of
is?
course. So our founder and CEO, Lisa Bowler, she founded Harvest House in 2014 as a nonprofit, but she was doing a little bit of groundwork before that.
Mhm.
So we've been around probably, 2014, but also just like a couple of years before that, she was just doing all her research.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, in my work with survivors, and I'll be the first to say that I'm a sexual assault survivor. And so my heart goes out to anyone who's ever had to deal with that whatsoever. What I've learned is a lot of people who develop these type agencies or found these type of agencies have also been sex trafficked or have a background as a sexual assault survivor. I'm not going to ask you about Miss Lisa because she's not here one way or the other, but I will ask you, and I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Mhm.
Are you a sexual assault survivor?
No, ma'am. I am not myself, but I do have friends who have gone through that. And I'm very empathetic to our cause and people who have gone through it because I've seen the resilience that comes out of it, but I also know the pain and healing that it takes.
I certainly agree with you, and I can tell that you're passionate even in those few sentences about working with this organization. And so thank you, because I think it even takes oh my gosh, even a more resilient person to say, I'm going to help people that I cannot maybe 100% relate to, but I just want them to be healed and to get better. And so that for me, big thanks from my heart to your heart for wanting to help others like myself. That means a lot to me. So I was
Thank
looking
you.
at over some of the stats, and
Mhm.
I think this was actually put out by Harvest House that most children are sex trafficked between the ages of 12 and 17, and about 75% between 13 and 17. That's a very, very young age. It stated that a lot of that trafficking is done along the I-10 interstate. And so, how does the interstate tie into human trafficking as a whole?
Yes, ma'am. So with I-10 running from coast to coast, it does bring in a lot of people that we may not know what their intentions are.
Mhm.
And oftentimes those people are looking for children to exploit, but we also experience kids that are being trafficked even living at home. So it could be many, many scenarios, but the highway does play into a lot of our trafficking situations.
Most definitely. And I also saw that it showed that over 79,000 children in Texas, that's just Texas. That wasn't a nationwide number. That's just Texas that's been trafficked. That seems like an awfully large number to me. And those stats were given in 2021 and 2022. Do you know if that number has increased or through some of the agency's efforts, it is now going down?
So, from what we can tell from our own program numbers, is that that number may be higher now,
Okay.
but Texas is always like either one or two as the highest state in the nation So it's just unfortunate, but yes, our numbers are very, very high compared to other states.
Yes, I lived in Florida for 7 or 8 years, and so every year I attended the human trafficking seminar that they gave. They gave an awesome 2 day
Wonderful.
seminar that was there. And when COVID came, then we had to do it online. And we're like, no, we want to get together, and but I'm sure you kind of know how that whole thing was. And it was just heartbreaking on one end to know the children are faced with these type of dangers, but it would also offer some hope, so much hope that there were so many people out there from law enforcement all the way down and all the way up to the attorney general. So yeah, so when I was working in Florida, it was just a really big deal. And so are there human trafficking seminars that are or some type of, thing where every agency gets together to try to combat it, not just as Harvest House, but also, with other agencies around that are going to combat human trafficking?
Certainly, there are many organizations that come into play whenever we are tackling the trafficking issue. So, Harvest House is part of the Texas governor's offers efforts to end trafficking in Texas. So, we're part of a care coordination team that includes our Child Advocacy Center, Garth House. We're part of it, law enforcement. But then, even on a bigger state level, we do go to a place called Crimes Against Children. It takes place in Dallas, and so all these agencies and law enforcement will come together to talk about child crimes, but also trafficking. And so we are gathering and discussing and just trying to come up with innovation and innovative new ways.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I was looking at the website and I love you guys' website. I don't know who's responsible for it, but I like the layout of it. I like the section where there's a specific area where it's information for parents and for medical professionals and for churches. And I'm just like, that is so needed because so many times you go to a website and you're just trying to gain information to help someone. And it is like, oh my, I can't even get to where I need to get to. I just need it to be easy and user friendly. And so kudos for a great website that you have out there. Two of the things that I noticed that I particularly liked was the article that you all had on See Something, Say Something. Can you tell me a little bit about why that's important within the human trafficking community?
Absolutely. See something, say something is like our little, slogan about how when you see something, you need to report it or you need to contact law enforcement. Many people, like the common person, doesn't know how to react in a situation. And so we try to educate on that and how to report it. National Human Trafficking Hotline, and also law enforcement if it's an emergency, you can call 911 because they have trafficking teams to address those kinds of things. So yes, that's the best way to help it.
That is very good. I also noticed, and thank you for that, that you all had voices of survivors. And I always think that is so important because, for the person that's outside, they want to know how is this agency helping? And we don't necessarily want to hear from all the workers and the co-workers, no disrespect to you guys. We want to see if there's a survivor themselves that can say how this particular agency helped them. And so
So, Voices of Survivors is something that we want to highlight every time in the community, and we have those brochures. It tells about a person that has gone through trafficking that has been one of our participants. We call them program participants. That it tells a little bit of their story without giving away too much information because we have to be careful about their identity, and you
very
never
much
know
so.
cases could be going on. So we just want to make sure that their voice is heard, but that also they're protected.
Well, thank you. And one of the things that I was really encouraged about is I always do my research before I'm going to do an interview because I don't want to interview someone and I don't even have a clue of what to ask or what they do. That would be an injustice to that person and to the organization or nonprofit. But two of the things that I noticed was in the news back in May of 2023, they talked about where the FBI, along with some other agencies, did this huge raid right here in Beaumont where they arrested 7 men, which I was so happy when anyone is arrested for abusing a child. It's like, yes, they got caught. And then I see in January 2024, so that was just like last month, where there was
Mhm.
another raid and just happened to be 7 people again, but it was 7 massage parlors that was raided. And you actually gave an interview during that time about some of the things that happen. And so I'm encouraged to know that there are people out there that's cracking down on this type of stuff. And you mentioned in the beginning of your interview about red flags. Can you tell me a little bit more? What are red flags that we should be looking for as a community?
So red flags would be, maybe large amounts of cash that a child has, especially if they're not working. How do they get that money? Luxurious gifts like handbags, new consoles. How did they get that? It's just questioning where are they getting these things and who's giving it to them.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, when you go to these rest areas, I know it's real big going through Texas and Florida, you had the human trafficking sign literally like in every stall where it would give a number that people could call. How often do you feel like people are actually calling in tips to you guys or to law enforcement?
So we don't have that exact number, but we are currently serving about 40 cases. And
Okay.
so, that's a pretty high number for our area.
Yes, very much so. So I'm going to wrap it up. I have about two more questions and we'll be done. So in
Okay.
2023, I believe that January is National Human Trafficking Month, and you all gave anyone who donated a $50, you gave them a T-shirt that said "End Child Trafficking." Do you have any idea what you all did this past month to raise awareness for National Human Trafficking Month?
Yes. So we worked with actually the Junior League of Beaumont. We had a trafficking summit happen in Orange at the Lamar State College there.
Mhm.
And we just gathered to kind of discuss how we are approaching trafficking here and also with the Louisiana Junior League because we do see interstate trafficking as well. We also got a proclamation from the city of Belmont and the mayor. So,
Mhm.
and then we just, of course, always do like educational campaigns about it, whatever awareness is going on. And so we did do a human trafficking campaign as well.
Thank you so much. Well, I know that Chelsea was going to join us and she was unable to, but can you just kind of quickly go over maybe some of the volunteer efforts? You know, that way, if there's someone who's interested and they're watching and they want to be able to help you or help Harvest House, they can do that. Can you tell me how they would go about volunteering for your nonprofit?
Yes. So if you go to our website, it's harvesthouseBMT.com, but there is instructions on how to apply to be a volunteer, and how to contact us if you are interested. But we also have a thrift store called Catch My Thrift. And so, it's really great. All the proceeds will go to our program and benefit it. And so, anyone who does volunteer there, they get a great experience. They get to help out, but also our kids get to shop there for free when they need things like
Oh, that's
clothes or
wonderful.
shoes. So it really is kind of benefiting it as a whole. But we always are needing volunteers. And if you are thinking about volunteering, we definitely would love to have you.
Thank you so much. And then very last question, I believe you all have a hotline. Can you please tell the audience what that hotline number is? Because we're going to run it across the screen so that if someone needs to give you all a tip or help in any way, they can call that help hotline. If you can just tell me that number, I'd appreciate it.
Yes. So the National Human Trafficking Hotline is 1-888-373-7888. And then our 24/7 on-call number is 409-790-0798. And I can also give you a little um, pamphlet with it if you want to show that on the screen.
Yes, that would be great. If you can, you'll send it to me, then I'm kind of coming to have some images that's going to be shown. So if you'll text it to me or send it through email, I'll make sure to
Definitely.
put that out there also. And all these interviews that I'm doing will be actually posted in April during the Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I will, of course, send it to you first so you can look and say, yep, it's a go, or no, I really don't like that. But I just want to thank you so much for your time, Ms. Della Garza. It just really helped me a lot. And I thank you for your efforts and for the efforts of Harvest House. And stay around for a little bit and have a chat with me. I'd appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.